So I'm going to steer away from spoilers as much as possible in this, but I am going to say spoiler warning for Hades anyway. Hades is my most played game of 2021 so far, although that is mostly because of an extended hospital visit with the Switch as my only friend. But let me tell you, it's good, like really freaking good. I knew I was picking this up ASAP when the first reviews started dropping. It's like, Supergiant Games? What, the guys who made Pyre? Yes please. Oh, and it's set in Greek mythology. Sold. I mean, Supergiant Games is a bit like the BioWare of the late 2000s. You know exactly what you're getting with a Supergiant Games game. Well written, charming characters to develop and bond with, great hand-drawn art style, good humour, and competently executed gameplay, and my word, is the gameplay in this good. I mean, look at this right here. The animation is so tight you can make sense of all of this mess on screen. It's so wild yet so clear when you're in the moment. Like, look at this guy right here. The keyframes on his animation before he pulls his moves. I tell you, New Frame Plus should do a video on this game. The animation is so great. The game creates a flow very similar to Civilization 6. Just substitute one more turn with one more room and you're there. However, this ain't a review channel, and if you're here, you probably already have an opinion on Hades itself as a game. This is a UX channel. Now, we're going to have a video at some point about some of the great UX things in Hades that we can unpack, but today we're on the other side of the coin. Today we're going to talk about 3 things that I would change in Hades to improve the UX. How to change it from great to awesome. If you do enjoy this video, give us a like and a share, consider leave a subscription. That helps out a lot. But let's jump into this. The first thing I'm going to suggest is a change to the breakable urns throughout the underworld. Now, randomly throughout your underworld journey, you'll come across these breakable urns that have obols in them for Charon. Smash for cash. Now, this one's probably the most minor of the 3 things I'm going to suggest, as obols are not something that you can take with you between runs. I just find them a little frustrating, because with other interactable entities in rooms, once you've cleared them of enemies, there is some kind of cue to indicate availability. Chaos gates have an opening sound, fishing points have an unmistakable ding of a bell. With urns though, there isn't really anything. That's not really a problem, as obols are a bit easy come easy go. They are, after all, the only resource that you can't take with you from one run to the next. However, if you have that RPG mindset of leave nothing behind, it does break the flow of the game to have to do a quick circuit of the room to double check for urns, especially in Asphodel where the rooms can be very large. Now, I've tried as best as possible to get myself out of that mindset and just not worry about the urns, hit them if you see them or don't, it doesn't matter, but with diamonds and titan blood being so expensive in the late game, it feels like you really do need all the obols you can muster. So what would I do to change this? Well, to avoid breaking the flow of the game, I'd recommend one of the following. You could just have urns smash themselves during fights. Even if they don't actually get hit, just have a rock fall on them, or something. You could alternatively make the contractor's unlockable ability something more like rooms randomly offer you gold as well as stated rewards, and just remove the urns entirely. I mean, I suppose an alternative would be just make the urns way more visible, like really blatant. Now, they do already flash with the same frequency as the doors, but really making them stand out and glow would help. I think any of the above would be a minor improvement to the overall experience of the game, and it would help keep pace and the flow of the game consistent. The second improvement I would make to this game is the layout of the UI on Nyx's Mirror. Nyx's Mirror is one of the ways you strengthen yourself between runs in Hades, part of the light part of this roguelite, as you get a resource called Darkness to permanently power your character up, similar to building the castle in Rogue Legacy. When you open Nyx's Mirror for the first time, you only have a handful of abilities that can be upgraded at a time, and you spend Darkness to level them up until they reach a maximum, and you can unlock more abilities to level up the mirror with the use of keys that you pick up during your run. Now, here's an artist's interpretation of when I realised I'd been using the mirror totally wrong. Okay, here I am clicking through. I'm going to use my darkness to buy some Fated Authority, so that's really good. Can't really afford anything else. Wait a minute, where did my cursor go? Wait a minute, why is it over here on the left? That's really strange. What does swap talent mean? Hang on. Oh no! So each of these actually has two different options for it, and I've only been leveling up one half of the tech tree. Well, at least I can spend one key to totally reclaim all of my darkness, right? So it's not really a huge problem, because you just spend one key and you reclaim all your darkness anyway, but I genuinely didn't register that these icons were buttons at all. So what would I do to fix this? Well, I don't think there's anything inherently wrong here. I just tidy up the UI. So options would include, there's a lot of negative space to make these buttons stand out over here, but no use of negative space over on the left-hand side. So you can adjust the spacing so it looks a little bit more like this. You could move these buttons over to the right-hand side of the menu to make it clear that there are two sets of buttons that are next to each other. You could change the icon to make it look more like a card flipping or something like that, and you could also have some sort of tooltip or flashing similar to the urns to indicate to the user that there are other abilities here, and maybe you turn the flashing off if those hidden abilities get leveled up or something like that. Now this might just be confirmation bias on my part, because I happened to trip over this issue myself, and as a designer you shouldn't fall into the trap of saying something is bad just because you fell for it. So this is one that I'm genuinely interested to know if anyone else out there had this problem, or whether it was just me. Put that in the comments below. And the number one thing that I would change in Hades is how the Boon dependency is displayed to the user. Okay, so in Hades there's this thing called the Fated List, and it's part of the metagame that manages progression in the light parts of this roguelite. As mentioned before, you get resources to power yourself up between runs. The Fated List is a series of completionist challenges which rewards you with resources when you complete items on the list, so it doesn't power you up as such, but it provides you resources to be able to power yourself up later. One of these list items is to receive every boon from each member of the Olympian gods. So far, so straightforward. Now when you're receiving a boon, the UI does tell you if it's a boon that you have outstanding on the Fated List, so that's great, 10 out of 10 for that one. However, some of these boons have dependencies on other boons having to have already been acquired that run. For example, to get hold of Glacial Glare from Demeter, you'll need to already have picked up Crystal Beam from her earlier in the run. Now there's a way that you can access this at the point where you're deciding on boons, so you're not resorting to pen and paper, but it's 2 clicks to get between the 2 lists and a bit of scrolling. So let's have a look at a practical example. Here I have a choice of 3 boons: Frost Flourish, Mistral Dash and Frozen Touch. Frozen Touch is needed for the Fated List as indicated by the icon here. However, let's check the dependencies list. To get there, we're going to press the left button to get to the codex. This is playing on Switch. Now thankfully the codex automatically goes to the Olympian you're looking at, so points regained there. However, you then have to press the minus button to get to Demeter's boon list. And from here we can see that Arctic Blast requires one of any on this list here. Are any of these currently on offer on the 3 boons that we had on screen just now? Well, I hope you were paying attention. But yes, if we go back we can actually see that either Frost Flourish or Mistral Dash will unlock the possibility of getting Arctic Blast later in the run. Now this is just a simple example of fewer clicks being better. 1 button press is superior to 2 and 0 button presses is superior to 1. So if you think that people's decision making is going to be based on ancillary information in this way, either have 1 button to take you to the boon list for that Olympian, or just have an icon similar to what you already have with whether it's on the fated list or not, to indicate a boon dependency for a subsequent boon that's available on the fated list. For duo powers, I'd recommend the same thing, but have the icon available on the second of the 2 boons taken, i.e. the one that unlocks the possibility of the boon power becoming available. And that, my friends, is going to wrap it up for the 3 things that I would change in Hades to further improve the game. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and a subscribe. Also, consider that sharing is caring, and send it to a friend. With that, thank you very much for watching, and as always, we'll talk soon.